Hey, everybody here in DC. It's coming. You know why? Because it's playoff season. College football is getting to the bowl season, and we're there because we're in the red zone right now. Josh Scott, proud principal of Memorial Pathway Academy and Garland ISD, Garland USA, ready to learn from all of the talented leaders on this call, making sure that we all take out our tools, sharpen our tool chest, and making sure that we grow stronger together. That's why we're in the red zone, to learn from all of our experiences. So it doesn't matter where you're from, whether you're in Alaska, whether you're in Hawaii, whether you're in Maine or in Florida, or anywhere in the 48 together, come on and join us, because you know what? We're only going to get stronger together to help our kids. Who are our kids? The future of the United States. That's why we're here. What do you think, Dean?
Iron sharpens iron. Thursday nights are all about coming together and getting better. Thank you very much. Dean Packard, Principal of Charlton Middle School, Charlton, Massachusetts. Great to be here tonight among greatness and royalty. We heard earlier on, Josh, royalty. That's a good thing when it comes to leaders across the country. So, again, great smorgasbord here tonight. Let's go around the room and introduce ourselves a little bit. Arnice, you're up first. Why don't you take the stage?
Thank you. Hi, everyone. I'm Arnice Williams. I am a math coach in Prince George's County in Maryland. So happy to join you guys.
Welcome, and that's Coach Williams as well. And I like that. We're sorry we didn't introduce it that way. David, you're up.
Arnice, that's awesome. I love that, Coach. So I'm David Ernst. I'm the proud principal at Colleyville Middle School in Colleyville, Texas. Former coach myself. Well, I definitely like to say I'm a coach still, because we coach every day, right? So I'm excited to be here with you all, and looking forward to our time together.
Outstanding. Well, welcome aboard again, David. So, Frankie, you're up, sir. Hi, Frankie. Oh, we got Frankie.
It's okay. Well, Frankie comes on the call. I will be remiss if I do not say this, Dean, that young man over there in the corner, that is the state of Texas Principal of the Year. We're in royalty right here.
Yes, we are. We talked about that before, which is a good thing.
And you know what, David? I feel you, but ultimately, you know what? That's one of the problems in education, is that we feel that it's inappropriate for us to give ourselves kudos. No, it's not. You busted your behind, David, to make sure that you earned that title, and you went all the way to the national level. Kudos to you, my man, especially in such a small state as Texas with hardly any administrators, and you rocked it. So kudos to you.
That's awesome.
You know, I appreciate that. I was actually at our staff meeting today, and my learning liaison, she's like, David, you've got to talk about your trip from last week. And I said, you know what? I do. And it's not because of me. It's because of the people that I get a chance to work with, and our kids and our community, our staff. So that all those recognitions are all about them. That's for sure. So you know what? We're definitely, I'm all about talking about it. I love our school community, and proud of what we do. And it's because of opportunities like this tonight, where iron sharpens iron, where we can learn and build off of each other. That's how we get good, and you know, who benefits kids. So I'm excited about it, and I appreciate that shout out, Josh. Thank you.
You got it,
David. It speaks volumes of who you are right there, casting all those glory things back at everybody else around you, because you're right. The greatest leaders I know don't accept any of those glories. What they do is they sit back and empower everybody around them. So kudos to you for getting where you are right now. So as we wait for Frankie to come back in, and we'll give Frankie a shot when he comes, why don't we get right into it tonight, Josh? And let's talk about Coach Williams. Why don't you start off first? A little bit about your background, how you got to where you are today, and more importantly, the current role that you're in.
Not a problem. Again, thank you guys for having me. So I actually come from a long line of educators. However, they were a lot of elementary educators, and my passion has always been mathematics. So even when I was in middle school, elementary school, I was always helping my friends with math. So it was just a natural path to become a teacher. However, I never saw myself as a leader, right? I always just saw myself working with children, but my relationship building and all of that actually helped me with my colleagues, helping them in their classrooms. And then this position, I just feel like it was kind of a divine intervention of just seeing that this position came forward, where now I'm able to take that in a bigger capacity, not only offering my skills to my school, but to everyone at large. So this has been awesome. Living a dream.
Oh, that's some good stuff. Hey, Frankie, you with us now?
I can hear you.
I think he's there. Frankie, welcome aboard. Just a little brief background about yourself, sir, if you could.
cutting in.
All righty. That's happened to us before, Josh. We improvise.
Hey, Frankie, log off all the way and log back in, and then we'll pick you up, okay?
Sign
David,
language. Log off. Come back
David,
on.
tell us while we fix him, David, go ahead and tell us a little bit of background on you.
Yeah, no doubt. So I actually started off as a Spanish teacher in Kaufman, Texas, Kaufman High School. So about half my career in high school, half my career in middle school, junior high. So Spanish teacher, I coached football and baseball in the great state of Texas, of course. And Josh, I knew that one was coming right there. You're talking about college ball and red zone, man. This got me fired up, let me tell you. Hey, but all that to say, coach, taught, did some world history, some PE, some physical education. I was an athletic coordinator there for a few years at the junior high level. Had some fun there. Back into the high school with some of my buddies that are now coaching college ball. Colorado University, a former head coach actually at Kansas University. So had some cool mentors and colleagues there that I've had the opportunity to work alongside with. And of course, back into administration as a vice principal and assistant principal, and now a principal now for my 7th year at Colleyville Middle School. So that's the quick version on me.
Great journey right there. Hey, Frank, you want to try it again, my friend? Welcome aboard.
Let's try it. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, a little better. A little better.
Keep going.
Okay, I'm on my phone. Okay.
So a little background about yourself, Frankie.
Okay, so I am currently this is my 3rd year in administration. I am currently an assistant principal at Dinwiddie, Virginia. I absolutely love my school. I love the people that I work. I do. I serve 471 K through 5 students. Like I said, living the dream right now. It's great.
Good stuff right there. Good stuff. All right, Josh.
So you know what, Coach? We're all in public education. We're in the best field out there, the profession that creates all the other professions. Yes. And we all got inspired by somebody. So, Coach, tell me something. Who is your role model in education?
So, question, do you want a past role model or my current role model?
Lady, don't fake the funk. Just put out the role model.
But honestly, right now, what's keeping me motivated has been like my new teachers. That's one of my other hats that I'm wearing. I look at them and I'm like extremely just in awe because they've come in, and I think about when I first started education, I could kind of mimic what some of my favorite teachers did and some of what the things and the technology, but now it's like technology has really just boomed ever since COVID, and seeing these new teachers come in and master that, learn this app, take this, do that, and just do it sometimes with the ease has really been my motivation. So sometimes when I'm kind of down, which I know you can't believe that I'm sometimes down, it really inspires me to see that these new educators, the future is really just taking its head on.
David, who's your role model?
Yeah, so I think of a couple. There's Coach Police back in high school, and then Miss Linda Williamson. She was back in high school. She was actually my student body president. I was a student body president my senior year, and she was our ASB coordinator, Associated Student Body Leadership. So it was a full-blown class, and man, learned all kinds of fantastic tips and tricks from her when it came to leadership. So she taught me a lot of great stuff that still sticks with me to this day. And she's one of those individuals I stay in communication with. Because man, talk about an impact, big time impact. So that's one I definitely can point to really quickly on my end.
Frankie?
In my personal opinion, I don't have just one role. I've kind of picked from a lot of people that I've had in my background where all together. One of them would be Chuck Moss. I don't know if you've heard of him. He's Director of Innovation over at the school board office. We also know who Chuck Moss is. Michelle Powell, who also works at the school board, my elementary principal when I was a PE teacher, actually. Sherry Cole at Southside right now. She is absolutely amazing. Javonda Tucker, Leanne Adam, assistant principals that I was with when I was in the middle school just last year. So I've taken people, and they actually have inspired me to make me who I am as a leader at my present job.
Oh, and yes, Frankie, we had Chuck, just that we had to move the show to a later time, so we rescheduled him.
Mhm.
So he'll be on the shows in the near future. Dean?
He's great.
Yeah. Well, first of all, Josh, I'd be remiss if I didn't take a second to talk about my role model in education. I've had this question asked me a couple times. I'm going to pivot and I'm going to say, Josh Tovar, you're kind of like you're my guy right now, man. You keep me on my toes. I might be a year older than you, but I'll tell you, you give me the energy and you keep me going each and every day amidst all the things I have to do within my world of administration. So thank you, sir. I want to give you that shout out.
Thank you very much, brother. You know, us old guys need to stick together. All these youngins here, they don't get it. All these little young bucks, they'll get it sooner or later.
How about you, my friend? Why don't you disclose yours? How's that?
Hey, you know what? I'm gonna let you know real quick. I'm originally from El Paso, and for Thanksgiving, I'm gonna go from North. I'm living in North Dallas, and I'm gonna be going back to El Paso. And so I always go back to the people that made me who I am. So normally it's the young lady, Miss Millie Williams, who encouraged me to become an administrator. But I arranged a special lunch when I go back on Tuesday at the Olive Garden with 5 people that are along my trajectory from teaching all the way to becoming a principal. I'm inviting them out to lunch and give them the thank you. Mind you, this was over 20 years ago, but that's one of the things that sometimes we lose a lot in public education. Loyalty. Yeah. You forget the people that opened the door for you, and that's a shame because we try to instill that on our kids, and as educators, a lot of times we forget those people that opened the doors for us. And so it's crucial. If you're an administrator, soon to be an administrator, or if you were that teacher that principal opened up the door for you, don't forget that because that's what they did. They opened the door for you.
No, there's a lot of loyalty out there by a lot of people. And quite frankly, this business is about planting seeds and handing the torch whenever we can. So we can't sit here forever. And we got to think about ourselves in our vertical movement and what that looks like to impact people around us. So, you know, we got a great group here that's probably heading up that ladder as we speak. But as we head up that ladder, let's just take a second and talk about post-COVID. Good or bad? Have you seen the changes you thought you were going to see? Are you facing the challenges of kids learning how to learn again? Are you talking about deregulation when it comes to choice making, or is everything, you know, peaches and cream for you? And let's start off first. Franklin, take it and run.
Say that there are gaps and there are gaps, and you can tell the gaps in between. Learners that, you know, they have not seen a classroom in nearly 2 years, and not just educationally, but also emotionally as well. We're seeing the rooms, and it's challenging. It's very tough. We are every child in our school building right now, but I will say that it's very challenging working to the bone right now to ensure that we have the experience that they have. I mean, basically, it's tough.
It is tough. 100% agreed right there with you. No doubt about that. Coach Williams.
I'm sitting here in the amen corner with Frankie, and I'm just like, it has been really tough on our kids, our community, just a lot of different dynamics really quickly with that social emotional piece with our students, really getting back in there to show them, you know, a lot of them, they miss being with their teachers. They miss that structure, right? So getting them back in the hang of things. And sometimes it's that tough love. Like, I expect better, and just reiterating that. I got tongue-tied or emotional. And then even with our educators, I'm seeing that there is a little struggle there too. We were literally taken from the building, thrown virtually, and then thrown back into the classroom. And so a lot of times my veteran teachers are having some issues with finding that flow and finding that balance in the classroom with technology and some paper pencil, right? Back to the grind. So it's a lot of adjustments on everyone's part. And then the admin team as well with the administrators, they're having to kind of find their style again, because we don't want to be so critical and put the kids out of the building, right? Because we also want to kind of help them refocus and kind of figure that path out. So everyone is getting hit in a different way, but we're all still trying to pull together. And every day it's tough. It's a new monster. It's
That's
manageable.
fair. That's fair. Can't argue with that. David.
Yeah, totally fair. And I mean, to say that COVID didn't have some sort of impact in some capacity, then would be definitely silly to say. You know, today I was in our PLC meeting. We had some PLC PLT time, and we were able to pinpoint exact students, exactly where they're at, and go back to like why. And it definitely points to the COVID. We can see the exact kids that are struggling at what certain points when it comes to English, math, social studies was the one today, and we could see where that came from. I mean, we were able to pinpoint because we have that very hyper-focused data. But at the same time, on the reciprocal, on the flip side of that, you know, I would definitely say that, you know, I'm fortunate. I'm in year 7 at my campus, and we've really developed and have created a pretty dynamic staff. And I know we talked about that over the summer a little bit, but you know, our culture is a really high, and we're hitting on all cylinders. So we're actually doing some really great things, and a lot of the data that our teachers are getting back. And you know, last year we had 100% growth with 100% of our students. That's significant, and that really speaks to the kids, the staff, and the community that's bought in. So you know, to tell you that, you know, we're still stuck in COVID, we're not. We've totally turned the page as far as our campus, and because of the culture that we have established now on our campus. And you know, we're definitely rolling. And we talked about momentum in the summer, and I remember talking a little bit about that, and you guys may remember there, Dean and Josh. But you know, we definitely have a momentum continuing to roll, where we're definitely heading in the right directions, and our kids are responding too. So we're doing really well, and you know, I'm really proud of our staff and our students for all their work, and the community buy-in as well. So there's definitely two flip sides of that, but COVID's a real thing, and you know, we're pushing through though.
So David, based on what you're seeing right now, reflection of the first semester, what do you foresee, and this goes out to everybody right now, what do you foresee as a pivot that we need to change now that after vacation, Thanksgiving, Christmas, but after that, here comes state assessments, here comes earning semester credit, all of these things hit us hard and heavy. So what kind of pivot do you think we need to do, David, from your angle there in Texas in your middle school, to make sure that you're successful, your family's successful, your kids are successful?
Absolutely. I think that's a great question, Josh. I appreciate that. So, you know, I mentioned culture. We actually had a staff meeting today. So just a couple hours ago, you know, we left that staff faculty meeting, and you know, one of the things that I even notated and made a comment while during our staff is every single person in that room was laughing and having a great time. And I told them, hey, we're tired. Let's be real. And every single person in that room, including myself, you know, we're all tired and we're all ready for the break. But the one thing's for sure is that everyone's enjoying themselves. Everyone has a passion, and we're loving what we're doing, and we're having a great time doing it. So this break is going to be a reset. So Josh, to answer your question, we already have a whole culture standpoint, a positive culture standpoint, where, you know, we've got things lined up, ready to go, where the kids are having fun, our staff's having fun, where we're trying to keep that morale and that culture built up high. Because what that inadvertently does, that affects us in the classroom. So the kids are wanting to stay in class because we're having very high engaging lessons, and you know, our PTA is jumping in. They're ready to reconvert our entire school and campus, and they're going to theme it up, you know, toy box drive, where, because we're doing all kinds of donations and charities with all our Stuco and NJHS, and everything that I'm explaining and describing to you is creating an environment where kids want to be and staff enjoy to be there. So we're really, that's what we're doing, Josh. We're continuing to feed the beast of a positive culture to create that environment where people want to be there. So that's what we're doing, and we're taking that and we're continuing to drill down on that hyper-focused data that I told you about, because instruction happens, and it just happens at a really high engaging level, and that's what we're doing, Josh.
Awesome. Thank you there. Hey, Coach, you're up there in Maryland, correct?
Yes.
Well, talk to me about there from Maryland. What do you see as a pivot?
You know what? I was right on board. We really do need to get our community back engaged. In the high school level, I think sometimes parents had that mentality like, we did it. They're good to go, right? But getting those families and communities involved. My school, I'm really lucky. We have such a diverse community. And so we're able to kind of learn different cultures. And with that, we need to bring that in. I think a lot of times our families are a little nervous to get involved just because of the language barrier, but finding that way to re-engage them, get them back in the schools. And I think that is going to be that shift that we need. We kind of getting the kids back together, but let's get those parents involved. Something I'm really passionate to see.
Frankie, Virginia, what does the Cavalier State say?
I agree with both. In our school we're tired. We're getting tired, but we have 470 little ones that look to us every single day. But one of the main things that we're seeing is social emotional learning in our classrooms as well, because we're seeing some kids that are coming out of here, and we need to have those multi-tier support systems there for us so that we can have those kids sure that they're getting the educational experience that everybody else has as well, but also meeting their needs classroom as well.
You know, as we look at all these things we're talking about here, you know, the one thing that stays the same with me are solid leaders. People who are, you know, we used the word earlier, coaching. You know what? I'm going to go back to that, Coach Williams, for 1 second. You know what? And whether you're a principal, assistant principal, superintendent, district personnel, you're still coaching. And what we look for in leaders is pretty much the same across the board. But I want to dig a little bit into you guys. When you're looking at your district, what do you look at for that leader? How does that leader lead? Let's talk about that for a second. Let's start off with David with this one.
Hey, and I'm sorry, Dean, you said me, right?
I did. Yes, sir.
All right.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so I'm pretty sure I thought I heard that, so I apologize about that. Threw me off.
No worries.
So what I look for as far as leaders concerned, someone that's going to lead, and someone that's going to take charge and basically have a vision, create a mission, and something that's behind it, and then able to execute that vision. I'm personally someone that is not a fan of talking just for the sake of talking. I want to see action, and I want to see things happening. And you know, so we have some fantastic leaders in our district that do that, and all around. So that's really what I personally look for. I'm really big on action, not on words. And you know, it's one thing to talk a big game, but it's another thing to show me, right? So that's what I look for in leaders personally.
Awesome. Frankie.
Humble servitude. That's kind of a big thing on servant leaders, those that aren't get their hands dirty and do the work that anybody else. I'm one of those leaders where I'm not anybody that I wouldn't do myself. So I'm one of those that likes to lead by example, basically lead in a situation where if I'm giving, you know, I wouldn't be afraid of doing myself, you know, and leading by example, things that I see as an administrator as well.
Coach Williams.
I like both of their answers, but something that is really close to my heart is seeing a leader that is transparent. Don't sugarcoat it. You know, we're going to work together, right? Hit me with the honesty. And I know there are some things that you kind of have to keep close to the belt, but transparency is very key. It honestly gets people on your team as well, because they know that you're going to be honest with them and they're going to feel like they're a part of your team, your network.
Absolutely. And Roz, I agree with you 100% about empowerment and what you do to the people around you and give them the opportunity and latitude to grow. And I'll tell you, the greatest leaders will plant the seed, water the seed, celebrate the growth, and then just make sure they get out of the way and let it happen. So I love that. Josh, kick it back to you.
Right. And you know what? I just like to add one last thing. And I like what David said in conjunction with everyone put together. If we're going to say we're going to do something, let's make sure that we do it. You can't say you have an open door policy and the head secretary or the campus secretary blocks everyone. You can't say you have an open door policy and people call you at 4:05 and you don't answer or you don't text back. So make sure that you role model that expectation. If you truly are a servant leader, you got to make sure that you do that to where people feel 24/7. That creates what David always says, a great culture, because they believe in you. People believe in actions, not words. And so part of that leadership aspect is making sure that we create leaders. Sustainable leadership is a crucial part of every institution. And we all know that. We all learn from somebody. That's why we started off with role models. Who is your role model in education? So I'll start off with you, Coach, right now. Let me know, how do you feel? What's the best way to mentor someone into a leadership position?
Trust. I find that once they trust me, I can kind of help guide them. And a lot of times people don't realize their potential, right? And just helping them see, giving them those opportunities to actually lead and letting them see that they can do it. I know that's what happened with me. I don't want to say pushed out there, but I was pushed out there and I realized, okay, I can fly. It was fly or fall. But a lot of times our teacher leaders need that little bit of push. They need that confidence. Just like you would build up the confidence in your students, that's the same thing our teacher leaders need as well.
Almost a rubric for success. Think about it for a second, huh? Boy, what do you think? Good.
Frankie, we've been talking about rubrics. You're right. Frankie.
For me, it's one of those situations. I like to put teachers in leader positions and see what they can do as well. Give them a little rope to learn on their own, and you can explain until you actually do it, and you personally get your own vision as to, okay, here's what I do, but it may be different to somebody else, or situations where you gotta basically do it yourself, and try to latitude to, if they make a mistake, hey, they make a mistake, we learn from it, we move on.
David.
Yeah, so I like the way Arnice started that off. So encouragement, someone had to push you, right, and really get you out there. So, leaders see leadership abilities and characteristics and skills and abilities in others, right? And it's our jobs as leaders, as individuals, as mentors to say, hey, you can do this. Try it. You can do it. Come on. Yeah, I know there's never a good time to get that extra degree. There's never a good time to get that certification. There's never a good time to do this and that. Do it, because you can do it. There's no better time than right now. Let's just be real. So giving that encouragement, kind of like what Arnice was talking about right there. One thing that I do particularly with my staff, whether it's assistant principals, counselors, liaisons, teacher leaders, et cetera, is, I give them those opportunities to lead, right? It's similar to what Franklin was talking about right there. But there's a teacher leader that's working at a different school in our district, and she came and approached me and said, Dr. A, hey, I would really love to learn from you, and I want to see how you guys do your leadership meetings, etc. And I said, I love that. So that's something I personally look for, someone that's not going to always sit back and wait to be asked, but is very proactive and wanting to lead. So what I immediately do to mentor them is, yeah, come on, I'll talk to your principal. You let them know, and we'll have them over, and I want you sitting in, and I want you seeing the everything that goes on behind the scenes, right behind those closed doors, and really expose the individuals to those situations and circumstances, and all those different opportunities for them to learn, and really put them in the fire, if you will, and just let them see and learn. That's the way I learned. I remember when I was an administrative intern in high school, right? I was 26 years old. The good old, we were talking about age, decades ago, whenever that was. And that's what the principal did for me. She was like, hey, come on in, David, come and watch us and watch our leadership meetings. And from there, I was able to apply things now, decades later now, as the leader of campus and of my own campus, and just really inviting people in to see those behind the scenes and really talking to them. I just love it when people ask and not just sit back and wait. Because, man, those are the ones I really thrive off of, and really mentor and take every opportunity and every ounce of anything I have to really invest into them. So that's what I do personally, in addition to some other things. But I like to start off there.
Awesome. Hey, you know what? I met Dean and Chris just on a whim.
On a whim.
Just on a whim.
I remember the first conversation. Just
like that. I met Frankie just on a whim, scrolling through Twitter. This guy down there, that top dog right there in Texas, also just on a whim. the village just on a whim. And then here I'm on their podcast. We're all together in this one umbrella. We're all under sharing these thoughts. So, what are your ideas of how we could incorporate social media podcasting to make sure that we improve our profession? Because that's the whole point of the Red Zone, making sure that we bring these ideas. And what you do, David, what you do, Coach Williams, what you do, Frankie, how can we promote that better as educators so that we're not only stuck within our region, but our region is the whole world? What do you think about that, Frankie?
It's great. I mean, this is the 21st century, and we're going into social media. And a lot of social media, there's a lot of negativity, but we have to spread the positivity. And that's where we're at. As we just have to basically word of mouth and word of tap now to get our message out as to our ideas and share ideas and just communicate to just, whatever works for, one place may work in another place. We just spread the.
One of the masters of this, David.
All right. Well, Josh, you remember how we met, right? We were talking about this, right? This very thing, that very question in Austin, Texas, at the TASSP conference there. And, we were talking about the impact and the power that social media and all the things that we have now at our fingertips to really tell our story. Because at the end of the day, if we're not telling our story, someone else is going to tell it for us. And it's probably the wrong one, too. And that's just the reality. So, one thing that's been really neat here, coming from that national conference that just came from the NASSP, that was something that we were continuously talking about. How are we leveraging Twitter? How are we leveraging, our social media to get our story out there? So we were asked as a school just recently, actually this past board meeting, this on Monday, they're like, hey, show us how Colleyville Middle School and students are being portraits of a graduate. Well, you know what? I just wanted to go rogue. Typically, the kids go up there and they have this little speech that they say in front of the board, and the parents are in there. And I was like, you know what? We've got some great B-roll video. We have some great things off of Twitter, off of Instagram. We have some video. We have some pictures. We threw it all together. We combined and made a video that we're all getting pretty good at on our campus. And we showed that as opposed to the kids talking. And the kids were talking, doing the talk over on the video and stuff like that. And what we were able to do was we pushed that out. YouTube, Twitter, Instagram. We had it all the places, Facebook. Parents were loving it. And what were we doing that entire time? We were telling our story and we were controlling the narrative as opposed to letting, people that are not even on our campus talk something that's like nonsense, right? So we had our kids up front because they're our greatest advertisement. It's the kids. It's all about the kids. And they're talking and telling our story. So that's how we're leveraging it. And I went long. Sorry about that. Who's up?
No, that's perfect. Hey, Coach, before you start your answer, start off with your closing line to the village. What do you say?
Leadership is a mindset, not a position.
Exactly. So talk to us about.
But honestly, David took the words right out of my mouth. It starts with us, right? We have to push our narrative. We have to get out there. Just because it might have a negative connotation, how can we make it positive, right? I love how you're using Twitter. The kids are already on it. Let's use it. The kids are on Instagram. Let's use it, right? We invade all of their other spaces. Why not social media? And we have to learn ourselves. They have gotten really good at it. So we have to not be scared and stay in this little box, right? And we have to educate ourselves. So how can we reach them? Let's see what they're doing. Let's learn it. Let's TikTok, Why not? These are all the different platforms that not only our kids are on, but their parents are on as well. Get the information out there. They're not using letters anymore, right? So if we want that parent involvement, get them where they are. We want the kids to be involved, get them where they are. It starts with us. Yes.
Dean?
Yeah, no, I'm just absorbing all of that. Based upon all your experiences and where you've been and, from where you started to where you are now, what advice would you give to anybody who is either aspiring to be in that coach's role or leadership role or even, even teacher role? How do you get them to just move to that next level? Just about that. Talk about that for a second. Let's go. Coach Williams, you're first.
Honestly, I'm thinking about my past self, right? My younger self, you're ready. All that doubt, take it out of your mind. You are ready. Um, just like David was saying, there's no time but the present. If you are too scared, guess what? The only thing you can do is fail. That's it. And guess what? You can try again. In education, that's how we learn. That's what the premise of education is, right? Is learning. You are ready to take that leap. And if you don't think you're ready, there's always a team of people. We're right here to help you.
David?
Yeah, I love how you said that, Coach. That. I mean, you're spot on with that. I was just talking to one of my colleagues here today, just a few hours ago, and she was telling me, I really need to do that doctoral, but I really can't do that doctoral class. I really want to, but it's just not a good time because of this, not a good time because of that, not a good time because of C, B, D, and all, just the list goes on. And I said, it's time. It's time. Like, you can do it. And this individual, amazing. Like, she's a dynamite person, and put that degree next to her, with her, along with it, and sky's the limits for her. All that to say that I agree 100%. Just encouraging people, people that have the passion to do, to want to help and mentor kids and or be in leadership, whatever it is. We just definitely got to do that job and be that encouragement and that cheerleader for that individual, because they can do it. People are pretty strong. They're very capable individuals, and it's our responsibility to definitely encourage them, for sure.
Absolutely.
Frankie?
When it comes to that question, I mean, it's kind of hard to follow up what they were saying. The only thing to that is that, the fear has got to be behind you. I mean, it's like, I don't know if you've ever seen the polar plunge before, but when you go and you jump into the water, you're scared to begin with. You're scared, oh no, what, all that and everything. Your body adjusts, and when you get into that cold water and you adjust to everything, once I adjust, it's not that bad. That's kind of what you're doing here in leadership as well. It's kind of, and you're trying to adjust yourself all over again. You adjust yourself every single day. We're adaptable as human beings. We're adaptable, and we learn, and that's down to leadership.
Josh?
Well, I'll tell you, Frankie, I'll tell you this much. Based on what you just described, I'd rather take on a cheerleading mom than jumping into ice water. That's all I'm telling you, all right? That's all I'm telling you. I don't think this Hispanic is going to be jumping into no ice cold water, right? Bring on that cheerleading mom or that flag girl right there, that angry. But as we were,
never say never.
Oh no! Hispanics don't have a lot of ice. But besides the point, here we go. Thank you, everybody, and for your insight and for everything that you brought to the table today. And we highly encourage everybody that's on the call and that will listen to this. Look at this experience that you have before you. That's the whole purpose of the show, is making sure that we learn from each other. If you're out there, reach out to us, reach out to Coach at the Village. David's a great role model with what he's done. He's shown it. He's one of the top in the nation. And this is what we're bringing to the table, making sure that we all learn from each other. You want to be part of Unlock the Middle? Come on over. We need your expertise. If you're in Wyoming, I want to know what's going on. Don't you want to know what's going on in Wyoming?
I do.
Our kids are going up there. Some of us are migrating up there. So it's very important that we learn from each other, our craft, our skills, because we're in the best business of all. We're not in the science business. We're not in the English business. We're not in the math business. We are in the kid business. We are in the people business. And it's crucial that we all learn from each other right now. And you know what, Dean? Let me tell you one thing. Today is the red zone. And I think we scored a touchdown. We did another touchdown, Dean. We did to the next round of the playoffs.
Hey,
we're ready for that.
Best 2-minute drill ever right there, guys. You guys all cashed in tonight and shared those little nuggets that are going to make everybody a little bit better out there. So we want to say thank you very much. And to everybody out there, listen, have a great rest of the week. Enjoy your Friday.
Hold on. Hey.
Oh, I'm sorry, Josh. That's right. Go. Sunday night.
What about the flagship show?
I can't forget about the flagship.
How could you forget about the flagship show,
Principal Tovar,
take over. This Sunday, Dwight Carter is going to come in and talk to us about his brand new book. You all know Dwight Carter through Principal Cafele and all the information that he's brought to us on social media. So follow Dwight Carter, but most importantly, follow the flagship show, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, Sunday. Ready for the Fantastic Four with Roz, with Coach Hurd, with Shika, and Principal Baruti Kafele all together. Thank you for that touchdown today.
Coach Williams, take us home. What are you going to say? I want to hear you end this show. Come on, let's go.
Remember, teacher leadership is a mindset, not a position. Bye, y'all.
Teacher leadership is a mindset, not a position. I love it. David, Frankie, Arnice, Josh, listen, great Thursday night once again. Wishing everybody a great rest of the week. Finish strong. And remember, always put kids first, and you'll be absolutely fine with everything else. Have a great week, everybody. See you Sunday night.